So I've done the working out for every single question in measurement. I can't figure out how to upload OneNote documents onto or like export it in as a PDF document without cutting out any information. So if you could just pause at whatever question you want to look at and copy on working out. I'm just gonna talk through some questions that are a few of you have asked me about, and the rest the working outs here. I'm just gonna slowly scroll down so that you can pause the video. Alright, so for question 4, the point is, so you need to express it as a true bearing, right? So it starts from the north, which is the red arrow here, and it's got 90, 90 plus 20. Question 5, you need to, so the person gets on, because they get to the platform at 1:45. So that means they can't make the one before then, but they can make it. So they have 2 minutes to run to the platform and get his tray. But then this one does not stop at Frampton. So they need to change somewhat. And we see that the next train actually stops at Doubleton, which this train also stops at. So I can change to that train. And the waiting time will be 8 minutes from 2:12 to 2:20, and then from that train I can get to Frampton at 2:47. And there's more explanation here. Question 7, it says 560 kilometers on 60 liters of petrol. So this is the ratio I get, and the reason why I have 100 kilometers here is because in the question I see for all the choices it's got 100 kilometers, or else I would have done 1 kilometer, right? The reason why I'm doing 100 kilometers is once again because it's in the unit given by the question, and cross multiply will give you 10.7. Question 7, so it says due west, which means you travel horizontally, and then at the end, this place is due south of the home, so that's why it's a right angle triangle here. So the finishing point is vertically downwards from the starting point, because that's what due south means, right? And it tells you she was walking on a bearing of 148 from this point here. Let me just quickly, I'll use a different color. Maybe I'll use pink, just so it's quite different. Oh, I can't choose it. Yep, alright. So I'm looking at this point, from this point, because it says 148, I have to start the true north from this, and from true north, I go 148 degrees. And the first part, the first quadrant's 90 degrees, so in the triangle it's 58. So in this right angle triangle, you have 58, this is the opposite side, and I know the adjacent side is 2 kilometers, that's given by the question. So opposite adjacent, you can use 10 to solve this question. Question 8. So Paul travels from A to B on a bearing of 150, that's why it's 150 here, and then he turns and walks towards C on a bearing of 55. So these two angles are what I get from the question, the angles in blue. I got 30 degrees from co-interior. So there's a co-interior relationship here because true north, they're parallel, and that means the angles add up to be 180 degrees. So this angle is 30, which means the whole of ABC is going to be 30 plus 55, which is 85 degrees. Question 9. So you know the angle of depression is 40, and the angle of depression starts getting measured from the horizontal. So it's parallel to the horizontal ground, which means you have alternate angles here. So 40, 40. And this is a right angle triangle again because it's a building. Buildings definitely are perpendicular to the ground. So for the 40 degrees, x is the opposite, and you have the adjacent. Once again, 10. 1040 is equal to x over 50. So now you just have to move the 50 to the other side, times it by 1040, and that's 42. Alright, question 10 is similar triangles. So similar triangles have the same side ratios. So if I say the shortest one to the second shortest one is 6 to 8 in the first triangle, the shortest side, so x, to the second shortest side, which is 24 in this one, x to 24. These two ratios should be equal, and then you do cross multiply. Question 11, hectares to meters squared is 10,000, and for volume, it's always this formula. And because the units are different, you change centimeters into meters, 0.17 times the body area. And meters cubed 2 kiloliters is 1 to 1. Alright, question 12. It tells you the unit energy used. So that's for per kilograms. But I know SAM is 65 kilograms. So with the unit energy used, you can think of this as unit energy. You just times it by the weight. That's how much Sam burns in 30 minutes. So that's the calorie, that's the energy he burns. But then he drank a cappuccino, which was this many calories. You need to change into kilojoules because in the question, it's kilojoules, right? And it tells you the unit conversion. So you times the calories by 4.184. That's how many kilojoules that is. So if in 30 minutes, Sam burns this many kilojoules, how many minutes can he burn this many kilojoules? This is from the coffee. And then you do cross multiply again. It's a ratio question. Alright, question 13. This is once again similar triangles. So I'm looking for R, which is the hypotenuse. So it matches with Z in the other triangle. So you can do R over Z. That's also equal to the ratio of another pair of matching angles, matching sides. And the reason why I chose PR and XZ is because I have the measurement for both sides. If I choose 22, I don't know how much RQ is, so this ratio wouldn't give me any result. So I do 17 over 9 equals R over Z, which is option C. Alright, question 14 is a blood pressure question. So these black lines just tell you the minimum and maximum. So that means for the top one, for his age, so Jamie is 42, which is this age group. For the top one, she can have 114 to 136. As long as the top one is in that range, it's a reasonable number. And for the bottom one, as long as it's in 78 to 88, that's what I get from just reading horizontally to the blood pressure measure. As long as it's between 78 to 88, it's normal. So I'm looking for, first of all, the top pressure. It has to be in between 114 to 136. So really from, from week 5, that's when it starts, actually week 4 is when the pressure becomes normal, but then it goes back up again, right, for the top one. For the bottom one as well, even though it was normal in week 4, it started going up in week 6. So we need to look for something that stably goes down, which actually starts in week 7, because from week 7 on, all these 4 pairs of numbers are in the normal range. Alright, question 15, just the small, big one minus the small one. Question 16 was in your final exam, so half yearly. Question 17, so I completed this square, and I saw that the whole side is 2.8 plus 1.6, which is 4.4. So the square is 4.4 squared minus the 2 parts that I don't need, and they're also squares. So it's 14.24 meters squared, but it says I need 10% extra tiles. So I do 10% times this to find out how much extra I need to prepare. So the total needed is how much you actually need plus the extra. So this is the backup, right? So in total you need this much. But it says the boxes are sold in 1 meter square boxes. So if I need 15.6, I can't just get 15 boxes because that's not enough. I need to get 16 boxes instead. So the cost is, first there's a base rate, so this is the flat rate. However many boxes you get, you need $55 to start off. Plus $8 per box, and I'm getting 16 boxes. So 16 times 8. So in total I pay $183. Question 18. So for the first part, I'm just looking for this one here, right? So to get this, I do the big sector minus the triangle, or else you can't really do it. It's just the area difference between the sector on the top minus the triangle, so the part that's not shaded at all. So it will be what I wrote here. And the reason why it's 2 times 2 is because as long as the two lines are parallel, that means one of them is the height, one of them is the base. Question B, it's a semicircle minus what area you just got, right? Because I'm just looking for the grey area. For the semicircle, the part you need to get is the radius. It doesn't tell you that. But you know the diameter is actually the hypotenuse of the right angle triangle. So that's what I did here. 2 squared plus 2 squared in a square root. So it's 2.83. That's the diameter. And then the radius is just this divided by 2. And that should give you that answer. And I think the reason why my answer is different than the actual answer is because of rounding. So if you didn't round it up that much, then you should get 2. Alright, question 19. If a city is 2 hours ahead of the UTC, UTC is 0, that means the UTC plus 2, and New York is 5 hours behind, so it's UTC minus 5. And the time difference is not 3, because look at the signs. They're opposite. When the signs are opposite, the time difference is these two numbers added together. If not, you minus them. So in this case, and I just did the difference, right? So I do the first number minus the second one, but because the second number is a negative, minus becomes positive. So it's also going to give you 7. But more simply, you can just do 5 plus 2. So the time difference is 7 hours. And New York is 7 hours behind. Athens is 7 hours ahead. So Karen is going to ring Marco at 10 p.m. on Tuesday in Athens. So Athens is ahead, right? To get New York time, you need to go backwards by 7 hours, which will give you 3 p.m. on Tuesday. Question B, so Marco is flying from New York to Athens. His flight will leave on Wednesday at 9 a.m. New York time and will take 11 hours. So whenever you do flight time questions, you need to work out a time in one location first and then add the time difference to it. So for my working out, I chose New York to be the fixed location. I first do, okay, so I know it departed at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and don't forget to always include the day as well, and it will take 11 hours. So finding out what time it will be in New York 11 hours after, because no matter how long the flight takes, or no matter how much the time difference is, in the same city, the time it's constant, right? It just keeps passing on. Even if it takes 7 hours and you go to another country, the time in this country does not get affected. So I add the 11 hours to it. It will give me 8 p.m. on Wednesday. But that's when the plane lands in Athens, right? So this is the time in New York at that time. But Athens is 7 hours ahead. So you plus the 7 hours to it, which will give you 3 a.m. on Thursday. Alright, question 20. So from X to Y, it's 39 degrees. This one's straightforward. And then from Y to Z, you walk on south 55 degrees east. So this is south, this is east. From south to east, this degree is 55. And because this is 39 degrees and this is true north again, these two lines are parallel. So once again, alternate angles. 39 also is here. So the whole angle is going to be 39 plus 51, which is 90 degrees. This is from alternate angles. And to find the distance between X and Z, you know Z, according to the question, is due east of X. That's in the question. So that means true north and Z should form a 90 degrees. So the angle in green here, I just did 90 degrees minus 39. So that's 51. And then because it's a 90 degrees here, that's what you got from question A. It's a right angle triangle. So you have 51 degrees. You have 1330, that's from the question as well in the first part. I'm trying to find X. So you have the adjacent, you're finding the hypotenuse, which is cos. So you form this, you'll be able to find X. Question C. So from x to y, I know the distance is 1330 divided by speed. So I don't know if you still remember the, what's it called? The triangle. So you have D, S, T. So I'm trying to find T. Right now what you would do is use your finger to cover up the T and you will see D over S. And that's the formula you'll be using. So distance over the speed, that will give you 2 hours 20 minutes. Alright, question D. It says, so I just redrew this triangle just to make it clearer. So from Y, I am supposed to go to Z first and then go to X from Z. But then this pilot, instead of going 51 degrees, they went 50 degrees. So this line in blue, and it's pink now, that's the actual route they took. And the degree is 50. And at point W, they realized that, oh wait, they traveled in the wrong direction. So from W, instead of going to Z, they just went straight to X. So it's really just another triangle, right? And it asks you which point is further from X, W or Z. You already know XZ is 2113, that's from question B. You just need to find out how much XW is, and then you compare the two numbers. And just to make it clearer for myself, I redraw the new triangle outside. So I know this angle now is 89 degrees because 50 plus 39, that's 89. And this side is 1650. That's also from the question. It says he flew 1650 kilometers before realizing and making the right choice. So you have, this is from the original question. So you have angle side, you're trying to find another side, that's cos, right? So this will give you y is equal to 2101, which is the distance. And if you compare this with 1113, it's actually slightly shorter. So XW is actually shorter. Alright, question 21. So it says the student travels to and from the university, so that means they're commuting. So they make the trip 2 times a day, right? So 2 times a day for 5 days a week. So you have to times this by 5. They actually do this 10 times in total, the commute. So if she rides a motorcycle, the distance traveled, because it says it's 34 kilometers in total. That's one trip, and she makes 10 trips in total. So 2 times 5, that's 10, which will give you 340 kilometers. That's how much she would travel in a week. And the fuel consumption is 1 litre per 17 kilometers. So how many litres does she use for 340 kilometers? Cross multiply will give you 20 litres. So 20 litres times the unit price of the petrol. And it will give you 29.40. This is the cost if she motorcycles. But then if she travels by bus, it's going to be 471 per trip, and she makes 10 trips. So the total price will be $47.10. You do this minus $29.40. That's the motorcycle price, and you see that motorcycling is actually $17.70 cheaper. Question 22. So I just labeled everything. I'm trying to find side B here, but I don't know how much angle B is. But you know the other two angles. So angle sum of a triangle, angle B is 46 degrees. And then you form a sine rule. B is equal to 226.2 meters. The reason why I'm rounding it up to 227 here is because it says fencing can only be purchased in meter length. So if you need 226.2, you need to buy 227, or else the 0.2 meters, they can't give it to you. They only sell in whole meters. So I need 227 meters of fencing when I purchase it, and it's 65 per meter. So you times them together. Alright, 23. So you will measure that it's 2 centimeters, change it into meters, because if you go from a map to the actual length, it will definitely be in meters or kilometers. So it's 0.02 meters, and you know the scale factor is 1 to 50,000. 1 stands for what's on the map, and in this case, it's 0.02. 2, how much it is in reality, and as Cx is equal to, after cross multiplying, 1,000 meters. So that's 1 kilometer, right? Because the question asks you to write it as in kilometers. Question B. 2 things are in reality 6.5 kilometers apart. So I changed it into centimeters because now I want to go back to maps. And also the question says represent your answer in centimeters. So convert your units first. And this is how many centimeters there are. And you do 1 to 50,000, that's the scale factor. That's how much it is in reality. I want to find out how much it is on the map. So x is 15 after cross multiplying once again. Question 24. I think question A, the key point is you need to understand southwest means it's 45 degrees. So B, if you complete a compass, this is south, this is west. B would be right in the middle. The graph is not completely accurate, but you will note this part is 45 degrees. So from south to B is 45 degrees. The whole thing is 65. So from south to C is 20. But it asks for the true bearing of C from O. So if you look at the true bearing from O, you're actually looking at this angle here. So it's the supplementary angle of 20. So it's 180 minus 20, which is 160. And the area of triangle AOB, that's half AB sine C. To get this angle, you just do 360 minus the 3 angles you know. And that will give you 135. And you times everything together. Question 25. First step is finding the angle, because in the formula half AB sine C, you cannot use it. You cannot use it unless you know one of the angles. And you have 3 sides, so you can use the cos rule to find how much the angle is. So the angle is 135. This one is 134. Of course, you could have done P and Q, any of them, as long as you get one angle and you times it by the 2 adjacent sides. You'll get the same answer anyways. And my answer is slightly different because of rounding issues. Alright, question 26. It tells you A is equal to half AB. This is the formula I'm going to use. It tells you the area. And it also tells you YXZ is acute, so that means it's not going to be an obtuse, right? And you know two of the sides. And the reason why I'm choosing X to put inside is because in this formula, the angle is included by the 2 sides I'm using. And because I'm using 10 and 9, the included angle is X, right? I should have written sine X. So it's sine X in the formula, and I'm putting everything. So X is equal to 73 degrees. X and YXZ are the same. Alright, question 27. I used the sample response because I can't really measure it on the computer. But then it tells you AB, this whole thing is 45. And you can measure it to be 4.5 centimeters. So that means, 4.5 centimeters to 45 meters. If you divide both things by 4.5, you get 1 centimeter is equal to 10 meters. And then you can measure everything accordingly. And you should get that this is 30 and you'll have maybe this is 25, 20, and 25. In reality, of course. If you do it on the paper, it should be 3 centimeters, 2.5, 2 and 2.5 centimeters. And then with the trapezoidal rule, you just put it into the formula, right? Alright, question 28. So in 2018, first 40 frogs were caught and they were released after getting tagged. and then I randomly choose 160 frogs. So I'm just assuming that the percentage is going to be constant. The percentage of being tagged, of the tagged frogs, is going to be constant. So if 20 out of these 160 frogs had been tagged, that's the percentage I get. That's going to equal to the percentage of the frogs I tagged initially. So I tagged 40 out of however many. That's what I'm trying to find out, right? So 40 over x, that's the percentage. It should be equal to 20 over 160. And then you do cross multiply. X is 320 in 2018. But it tells you in 2018, this amount is 20% less than the estimated population for 2014. So if 2018 is 20% less, that means the amount in 2018 is 80% of 2014 population, because what I did is 100% minus 20%. So that's what I get. So from this, the amount in 2018, that's 320. It is, so is means an equal sign, 80% of the 2014 population. So this is what I'm trying to find out. So I use a pronumeral. So the equation you get is 320 equals 80% times y. Y is equal to the following. So y is 400. That means there were 400 frogs in 2014. So have a look at this and copy down whatever question you couldn't do before. If you still have questions, could you please just comment down below? Maybe you can pin the time as well so that I can just go straight back to the video and see where you didn't understand. If you still have questions, you can just call me on Google Hangouts. I will be available until 4:30 tonight.